We're going to be building a topo surface here based on a DWG import. So I'm in the site plan view. You can see my project base point and survey point in the middle of the screen here. So I'm going to go ahead and go to Insert and Link CAD and find my survey. The only thing I'm going to change is I'd like to go ahead and set import units to feet, and then make sure that correct lines that are slightly off axis is unchecked here. It's going to place at level 1, and that's okay. So we will say open. And here's my import instance. I'll go ahead and select that and unpin it, and I'll move it to the middle of my draw area. Now we can see, if I go to a 3D view, that the majority of this DWG link is the contour lines are up at actual elevation. So that means I can build a topo surface directly off of this instance. So the first thing I'm going to do is go to the site plan view here, and I'm going to find my survey point by holding tab over the project base point and then selecting survey point. So there's actually 2 points here, the project base point and the survey point. I'll move that. I'm just going to drag it over to this intersection of the property line and contour line 10,450. So that's right here. I'll uncheck that now, or unclip the survey point and change its elevation to 10,450. So now it's aligned with this contour line. And we can no longer see it because our view range is incorrect. So let me change that. I'll go ahead and just change that to 12,000 feet, and then the top of it also to 12,000 feet, and hit apply. And that ensures that we can see that point. Because what we did, if I go to 3D view, and I'll go to visibility graphics and down to site, turn on project base point and survey point, we now moved our survey point up to the intersection of that contour line. So I can build my topo surface now based on this. I will go to Massing and Site, Topo Surface, and create from import, and select import instance, and I will select the DWG link. I will uncheck all the layers that I don't want to define the contours, and I'm just going to select the 2 contour layers, the contour major and contour minor, and I'll say OK. So that automatically populates the points that will build the topo surface, so I can hit finish now. And I'll go to the site plan view again, and let's go ahead and get some contour labels in here so that we can ensure that Revit is displaying the correct contour labels for each line, and that it corresponds with the DWG link. So I will go over here to Label Contours, and I'll just drag this line crossing nearly all of my contour lines on the plan. And you can see contour labels are now present for my major 10-foot elevations. And that's just because under Model Site and Site Settings we say the contour line display is at intervals of 10 feet passing through elevation 0. And these additional contours, which are 1-foot increments, are only going from 0 to 1,000. So since our site plan is over 10,000 feet, then those additional contours are not going to display at this time, but that's okay. So I want to move, I'll go to 3D view here, and I want to move the topo surface and the survey point down closer to my project origin here and where my levels are existing. Just remember, we don't want to model too far from the origin point of the project. Where your sort of project base point originates is generally where you want to put your model close to that. Revit can get a little finicky if model objects are more than a certain distance away from this point. So it's always my practice to create the site at the actual elevation, tie the survey point to a specific contour, and then move that survey point and topo surface down to my project origin. So I'm just going to remember what the elevation is of this point, which is 10,450 feet. I'll go to the front view, still in 3D, and select the survey point, and we can go ahead and clip that now. And I'll also select the topo surface, and I'll move it using the move command down 10,450 feet. On my site plan now, I can go ahead and put the property line in. That's a good time because I want to get rid of this link pretty quickly. So I'll select the property line and create by sketching, and I'll just use the pick lines tool and select all the property boundaries here. And we'll say finish. Now you can see my contour labels no longer match the elevations that are on my DWG link, and that's simply because when I have the contour label selected, I can go to edit type, and you can see the elevation base is based on the project base point. We just want to switch that to survey point because that's where we built in the site data of knowing that this line here in the background is associated with 10,450. So once I change that to survey point and say OK, you can see now that updated and it's labeling correctly. The only reason that these labels are not showing up for these minor contours underneath 10,450 is that's below my project base point. And so if I go to massing and site and model site, or excuse me, site settings, I can change the start point for additional contours to something like minus 200 feet and say OK. Alright, now my contour labels match the DWG labels, and I'll just verify that one more time, 10,450, and that goes up and meets this survey point, which is associated with this number here. And at this point I can modify the visibility of my link. I'll go to Manage Links under the Manage tab and go to CAD Formats, select that survey and unload that and say OK. So now I no longer, that DWG link still exists in the project, but I don't have it loaded, so it won't be visible in any view. And I'm now ready to begin my building model. Just keep in mind that if you want to, if you need to modify the location of your building on the site vertically, you're either going to need to move all of the levels vertically, or move the actual site, the topo surface itself, vertically. But just if you do that, make sure you also move the survey point along with it, because the survey point is telling the topo surface that this exact point is 10,450 feet. So if I disassociate the topo surface from the survey point, I'll start to get incorrect readings on my contour labels. So that's it for now. We can continue with our building model, and the site is displaying correct contours.